Today, we'll talk about a dark and often overlooked aspect of World War II, which is the treatment of captive young women by the Nazis. While women played vital roles in the war effort, their fate as prisoners of war was often far worse than that of their male counterparts. During World War II, women played important roles in various areas such as mechanics, pilots, radio operators, clerics, nurses, and spies. Their contributions were crucial to the war effort. However, they faced significant risks of being captured by the enemy. Despite fighting alongside men and sharing the same uniform and weapons, their fate often involved more dangers than their male counterparts. Women who served in combat roles during World War II faced great peril if they were captured. Not only did they have to endure the difficulties of being prisoners of war, but they also faced additional challenges because of their gender. The treatment of female soldiers who were captured varied depending on the country and the specific enemy they encountered. Some were held in prisoner of war camps, while others suffered from torture, sexual assault, and even death. During World War II, the Night Witches became a famous group of all-women combat pilots. They formed when women were initially not allowed to fight in the Soviet Union. Despite this, these brave pilots carried out dangerous missions deep inside enemy territory. They had to possess exceptional skills as they flew into hostile airspace. They would turn off their engines near their targets and glide to the point of dropping their bombs using only the wind. The sound of their movement was likened to broomsticks by German soldiers, which led to them being called the Night Witches. Unfortunately, many of these pilots were captured by the Nazis and suffered a grim fate of concentration camps or execution. The German invasion of Russia in 1941 surprised the Nazis because they encountered many women serving in combat roles for the first time. Around 200,000 women fought for Russia in important positions in the armed forces. The German High Command reacted with a mix of disbelief and disgust. Field Marshal Gunther von Kluge issued a well-known order stating that any captured female soldiers should be killed. The order to execute captured women soldiers was a deliberate strategy aimed at discouraging women from participating in combat. It was a brutal tactic intended to uphold the prevailing male-dominated norms of that time. The German atrocities on the Eastern Front during World War II, by a complete disregard for the lives and well-beings of captured prisoners of war, including women soldiers. As the German forces advanced into Soviet territory, they captured millions of prisoners of war and subjected them to horrific and inhumane treatment. The Nazis ignored the principles established in the Geneva Convention, which was created to safeguard the rights and humane treatment of prisoners of war. This lack of respect for international law was especially evident in their treatment of female soldiers who fell into their hands. Female soldiers were particularly vulnerable and often became targets for abuse and mistreatment. The Nazis held sexist beliefs and held women in contempt for serving in combat. They viewed captured women as objects of ridicule and humiliation, considering their participation in warfare to be a violation of traditional gender roles and power dynamics. As prisoners of war, these women endured unimaginable hardships. They suffered from starvation, brutal physical and psychological abuse, and degrading treatment. The Nazis regarded them as inferior and denied them basic human rights and dignity. Many female soldiers were subjected to sexual violence and assault, experiencing the darkest forms of human cruelty. The Nazis sought to break their spirits and demoralize them, using their captivity as a means to assert dominance and superiority. The living conditions in the prisoner of war camps were appalling. The prisoners, including women soldiers, faced overcrowding, inadequate food, and unsanitary conditions that led to the spread of disease. The lack of proper medical care resulted in immense suffering and countless deaths. The mistreatment of female soldiers extended beyond the confines of the camps. They were often forced into labor, performing grueling tasks under harsh conditions, and treated as expendable commodities. The Nazis exploited their labor, compelling them to work in factories, farms, and other demanding environments. These women endured constant fear, uncertainty, and degradation, which took a severe toll on their mental well-being. They faced isolation, humiliation, and the constant threat of violence, all while living with the uncertainty of their fate. Many women showed great bravery and resilience despite the difficult challenges they faced during World War II. These women, as soldiers, demonstrated exceptional courage and dedication. Let's explore the inspiring stories of a few of these remarkable women. Christina Skarbek, also known as the bravest of the brave, was a Polish agent working for the British Special Operations Executive. She worked as a courier for the Polish resistance and played a crucial role in espionage. Although she was eventually captured by the Gestapo, Skarbek managed to deceive her captors and escape a grim fate. Skarbek's resourcefulness and cunning were vital in her escape. She convinced her captors that she had a terminal illness and needed to be transferred to a hospital. Taking advantage of a moment when the guards were distracted, she made a daring escape. Skarbek's bravery and quick thinking saved her life, allowing her to continue her invaluable work for the resistance. Nur Inayat Khan, a British agent operating in France under the codename Madeline, worked as a radio operator for the Special Operations Executive. Despite her non-violent upbringing, she risked her life as a member of the French resistance. Sadly, she was betrayed and captured by the Gestapo. Even in captivity, she remained uncooperative and was eventually executed in the Dachau concentration camp. Nur Inayat Khan's dedication to her mission and refusal to cooperate with her captives made her a symbol of resistance until her untimely death. Her story serves as a powerful reminder of the sacrifices made by women in the fight against tyranny. In a strange turn of events, Reba Whittle, an American flight nurse, was captured by the enemy during World War II. Whittle joined the war effort in June 1941 as a nurse in the U.S. Army. She underwent training as a flight nurse, a risky role that involved transporting wounded soldiers from the battlefield to medical facilities, often flying alone into enemy territory. In September 1943, Lieutenant Whittle embarked on a mission to pick up wounded soldiers. However, her aircraft flew a bit off the course and was carrying supplies instead of being marked as a medical flight. Unknowingly, Whittle and her crew entered enemy territory, making them vulnerable. Suddenly, after this, a German anti-aircraft fire hit Whittle's aircraft, which caused her injuries. Sadly, one of the pilots died, and the plane crashed into German territory. Whittle and the surviving crew members were then captured by German soldiers. The crew received medical treatment for their injuries and were taken to a nearby German medical hospital. However, the Nazis had no established protocol for dealing with female prisoners of war. Instead of being imprisoned, Whittle was made to work as a nurse in the hospital, possibly due to confusion and the Nazis' sexist attitudes. During her time at the hospital, Whittle's situation caught the attention of the International Red Cross, an organization dedicated to humanitarian efforts during conflicts. They learned about her plight and informed the U.S. State Department. In January 1945, after serving as a nurse in the German hospital for months, Whittle was released and reunited with the Allies. She returned to the U.S. Army, where she was awarded the Purple Heart for her injuries and honored for her service and bravery. Whittle's story exemplifies the intersection of courage and sexism experienced by many women during World War II. The stories of these courageous young women shine a light on the hardships that they faced. Their bravery and resilience in the face of unimaginable circumstances deserve our utmost respect and remembrance. Thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget to leave a comment down below and let us know what you thought about this topic. See you next time!